There we go.
Okay.
Now it should be going live. Okay, we're live. Or if we're
His arms
it's
are heavy,
recording,
knees
we'll.
weak, palms are sweaty. There's vomit on his sweater already. Anton's spaghetti.
Did you write this poem just now?
No, this is the opening to Lose Yourself by Eminem with the word mom being replaced by Anton.
What? I don't. I am not familiar with this. Uh,
Oh, it's that one song. It- Mom's spaghetti is it's one of the big lines.
poem just now. Oh,
No, this is
oh
the
gosh.
opening to Lose Yourself by Eminem with the word mom
Oh God.
being
No,
replaced by
no. I'm trying to.
Anton.
Mute the.
I
Oh
don't.
no. There we go. Sorry. That I had the stream unmuted in a window, and it was repeating everything you just said back to me, and I was confused.
Oh Lord, no. Anyway, we're reviewing Spaghetti by Anton, a track that has a very obvious name for. You'll see.
All right. Let's do it. Let's just go. Yeah. Ready?
Pop, pop. Yep.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Very minimal editing,
Yeah.
which I mean close to none.
So the
The
concept
exception.
is pretty clear when you start. It's
Yeah.
it's spaghetti. It looks like spaghetti, and it's like he's riding one continuous line that's weaving its way around.
Sometimes it intersects, which I think is neat.
So I think
Uh,
the part where it intersected there was a recycle. You know.
yeah.
So it's yeah. It doesn't intersect in other ways. It's one continuous line that follows Bosch directly.
hmm
And then it broke up a bit.
Yeah, and
now
you'll start to
now it
notice
gets
this.
now it dissolves. There was a blip in the style, and then it changed there.
And it changed there, and it now it's completely gone away from whatever it previously was. It's
It's
broken
breaking up
there.
more and more. Now there's little bits
There's
of weird scenery here.
there's some like angles as if it's like deconstructing it, and then it just ends.
Yep.
Um, so
It's very
chew on
short.
here.
It's very short. Well, I guess it's actually not that short. It's like a minute, but yeah, it feels I don't know. It feels
Yeah.
brief for some reason.
Feels what?
Brief.
It is. I think. Because it like explores the concept and then just leaves it and then it's done.
Explores what concept?
Of just like a single line and then it just leaves it and it's done.
It takes a single line and then it like, well, the concept slowly dissolves and then it, like, there's like, honestly, I'm not really sure how I understand, I think I get, because of some of the commentary Anton provided with it, that, oh, the angles are supposed to be like self-referential, but I don't really
like,
understand.
It's deconstructing the idea of like a track falling apart, and so it's like this meta narrative, and
Can you explain that to me?
I think the like idea of the angles being there. Let's put this back in slow mo from the beginning.
All right.
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go.
I think the angles towards the end are supposed to signify that the track has an awareness.
But can you explain? Can you explain
basically
that farther?
The angles sort of represent a look sort of into the inside, the making of it. You see the angles and you see like, oh, that's why that curve was constructed that way, even though that's not really how we make tracks. It's supposed to be sort of this like inside look into the
Is
actual
that how
like
the curves were constructed though? Because
no,
I
it's
didn't.
not.
Yeah, it didn't seem to me like the curves were constructed the way the angles are showing that they were. So it seems like it's some
Right.
sort of a weird false meta narrative.
Yeah,
Mostly I just find it confusing, to be honest.
yeah, and I think what he was going for, and he can feel free to correct me on this one, is that there was this sort of like you are seeing the skeleton behind the track, like you have a track as a presentation,
Uh-huh.
and then it starts to like fade away from like all the show and the glitz that covers things up, and then
Mm-hmm.
it turned into like this is the skeleton behind it. These are the angles that things are going at, and
Mm.
you sort of see the behind the scenes towards the end of the track as sort of the magic is gone.
I guess I don't really understand that because I didn't think, like, it doesn't strike me as like, oh, that's how he did that kind of a thing. Because like revealing the process can be sort of cool, but I mean, I've done that myself in tracks, but I don't think there was a process here to reveal. Or if there
Well,
was, it
not
was revealing something that wasn't actually because like those
yeah.
angles they that wasn't the process that he used to make this part of the track pretty clearly, I think.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it'd be very difficult to argue that like he was doing that up until that point and then just erasing the angles and then here he left the angles, you know?
right. No, I'm not arguing that he actually did that. I think it's just by process I mean just like sort of the uh like what you would imagine sort of the skeleton of a track to be like. We know it's not that because we play Line Rider, but like visually you'd be like, oh, it's like all these solidly constructed curves, and then it immediately cuts to like sort of it breaking apart, and you see like, oh, these angles and these like
I don't get it. Sorry.
yeah, it's
I don't understand it.
and that's my main critique with it. Like whatever meta narrative it's trying to establish, it doesn't do so clearly enough. Um, and it seems to be secondary to the actual nature of the track itself, like
It
something that was
seemed
sort of
like whatever
stapled
whatever
stapled on afterwards.
yeah, it seems like it doesn't actually fit the track. Whatever it is, like I don't understand how it's supposed to match, the first part of the track where it's not a meta narrative, it's just the track. It's just this idea, this spaghetti idea, which I
Yeah,
think is pretty cool. Like it was cool to watch. I guess if I were making this track, I'd probably have the same, end up with the same problem where it's like I'm watching the track and then it's like, oh, I better do something other than this because this is not going to be very interesting if this is all I do. And then it just, but like there's breaking up and there's these angles, but it doesn't. I don't know. It
and
doesn't. It feels like lazy is the word I can't help but grab onto. Is like
yeah,
um I guess maybe a word that I used to refer to this track before is like retroactive. Like
yeah. It
like
feels
it's
like
like
they went back and it's like here's some meaning we can tack onto it. It doesn't
yeah.
feel like the track was made with a narrative in mind that was incorporated all the
And
way through. It
and
feels like the narrative was sort of like slapped on afterwards real quickly just to like
and
say, okay, there's a narrative. And
I want to clarify that like there are tracks that are successful in creating a narrative that don't have an idea of that narrative from the beginning. Like when we reviewed Yo by Helios, like we
yeah,
were like, it works even though it's clearly not planned from the beginning.
right.
But then this track, it feels like it's pointing at like something that happened previously that didn't actually happen. It's
Yeah.
like now we're revealing the thing that didn't that it's not a reveal if you weren't doing it to begin with. Um, yeah, I
So
would say, I mean, as far as uh, like I enjoyed the spaghetti idea. Um, I just think that I don't know. I don't really know what I would do differently. Um, I mean, I guess if I were making this track, I just have to sit down and be like, okay, let me think on this for a while and see what I can come up with to make this track more more engaging and more interesting. I have this spaghetti stuff, and it feels kind of, how am I going to end this thing? How is it going to be anything more than just spaghetti? Um, you know what I mean? But I
Hmm.
don't know what I would have actually done. What do
I
you
also
think?
don't. I also don't think the way the music is presented suits it either. It's this very like sort of apathetic indie
Yeah,
electronic stuff that doesn't really like serve the complex like jumble that it is.
that's a good point too. Is that like yeah, it's like it's a the music kind of doesn't help the track because it's very yeah it's very apathetic. It's a great word. The music is kind of like just you know like
Like I just
stoner chill
honestly
to the max.
I and I'm sorry, Anton, if this isn't the case or if I misinterpret, but like I just get the sense that you didn't really give a shit about this track. And
I mean
uh,
that I mean I'm sure he
I
had
mean,
some reason for publishing it, you know.
yeah,
Um, I have a hard time finding any. I mean, I guess it is an expansion on sort of the Green Line integration, you know.
yeah, I like that.
Um,
I think this has a lot of I think there's value in exploring aesthetic, and I think you did an interesting thing by exploring aesthetic here. I want to see more and sort of more care given to it, I guess, if that makes any sense.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I want to see. I'm gonna be honest here. I mean, I'm having a hard time coming up with like what would I do differently or what kind of solutions would I give to trying to achieve. But I guess what that comes down to is I don't know what you were trying to do. You know,
Yeah,
um,
and and that's the
I don't know what the goal was here, and it's hard to parse that out, especially because the meta narrative is so muddled. You know,
can I soapbox?
go ahead.
Uh, I think we should make narratives more obvious. I think it like as is right now, trying to put like a meta narrative that's like a hidden meaning that's for people to like puzzle out does nothing but make us like come up with a bunch of stuff that might be right and might be wrong and is just very vague. And it gets a lot of talking done, but it doesn't really like
Yeah, I
feel
think
meaning. I don't feel like I've made any meaningful points here when I'm.
Yeah, I think with Anton's tracks, I've sometimes enjoyed the like when there's a technical constraint going on,
Oh yeah,
and how
yeah,
it work like Anton's Anton does a good job of like I'm gonna make a track that's 100% this, you know, or is just
yeah,
super aware of this factor in track making. Um, but then I think the only example that I can really draw on is create new track when it comes to um, trying to sort of establish a sort of a meta narrative, and um, I think create new track did a better job than this one
yeah,
in terms of establishing a meta narrative. But I think maybe that one was too broad and it was trying to tackle
yeah,
too many things at once, you know,
yeah,
um, if you know what I mean.
yeah. I get you.
Whereas this one is it's more focused, but it's more unclear what it's focused on, if you know what I mean. So
Yeah,
I don't know what the point is, and I don't think anyone really knows what the point to like what the point was to the track. Let's see. I think there was supposed to be a irony involved. Although I gotta say, I feel like when it, you know, irony is in our present day and age, irony is like the laziest of critiques. I don't really have any evidence to back that up. That's just my personal opinion. um, yeah, from the responses, I don't know if anyone knows any better than us what the point is. Anton said some things where it says basically it has a straightforward concept and then it starts to digress and then it falls apart and it shows the behind the scenes. But then, as we discussed, I don't really understand the behind the scenes part of it. Yeah. I don't know what else there is to say about it.
I think that's really it. Just I don't know. Make yourself clear. Make your voice come through the track somehow. I want to see what you have to say that isn't hidden behind layers and layers of stuff that I have to sift through, right?
Yeah.
I'm interested in that. I want to see that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm just, yeah. I don't know what I want to see. I'm having a very apathetic response to this track that I'm trying to dig out of, but I'm struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was that you said? Be more clear in what you're trying to say with the track.
Yeah, like
I would say if you're going to have a narrative, just don't bury it under layers of irony. Um,
yeah, yeah, that's it.
make it digestible to someone who's going to watch your track. Um, and if you know, but then also you don't need a narrative. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, we're big fans of narrative, obviously, but then the reason that we're probably so hard on this track is because it tries to do a narrative, and we're disappointed with what it comes up with.
Yeah.
But I feel like we would probably be less harsh on it if it was just the spaghetti. Although we'd probably be maybe
I'd say we'd be
not
a
too
little.
crazy about it, but it would
Yeah, we would be like, it does a cool thing, but that's about it. Uh,
so so I mean I guess I don't know. I mean
in short, if there's a narrative, make it pop, dude. Like make.
and I feel like I feel like oh here's something I can say before we sign off is I feel like a lot of the time when Anton has these sort of conceptual tracks where they follow a theme, there's one idea and it's rigidly adhered to, and I think this track was sort of an attempt to break out of that a little bit. But I would say that it instead of being like, okay, I got to pick one idea and just stick to that for the entire track, you can have multiple ideas that work together. So ideas that don't conflict with each other. So you're not like switching back and forth between two things, and you're not like having a thing and then having another unrelated thing that like two different sections or anything like that. But like complementary ideas. So
Mhm.
I'm trying to think of a good example of this. But just like if you have one concept happening and then you add sort of another concept in on top of it, or you have one thing that you're doing and then one thing that I mean I guess I always use music syncing to as a basis for that kind of a thing where it's like I have one thing going on and then I have another thing going on when the music changes.
Yeah.
Or I'll have
Maybe
one
to
thing
build
going on,
something
and
funner.
then it adds a layer of music, and then I have another thing that happens on top of that one thing. You know, so
Mhm.
you just don't feel like you're like you have to do. I have to do a conceptual track, and that means I have to have one concept. You know,
Mhm.
um, and by all means, if you like doing conceptual tracks, keep doing it.
Do whatever, man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Our opinion should not don't use our opinion to limit what you want to do. So,
Yeah.
and with I think that's a good note to end on. So,
Yeah.
thanks for watching, and what are we doing? What are we doing next?
We're doing Tantalos by Helios Pavanin.
Sounds good. So we'll be back in a few minutes with that. Bye.